Isang linggo na lang at buwan na ng Febrero at hindi lang naman araw ng mga puso or month ng mga puso ang ngayong Feb. Actually, magsa-celebrate din tayo ng Philippines Arts Festival at kasama natin ngayon si Atty. Trxie Angeles, ang spokesperson of Heritage Task Group.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Alright, ma'am. From the NCCA po mismo.
Yes.
Since February, gaya nga na sinabi ni Ross kanina, no? Annual na inaabangan yan, Ross, ng lahat ng mga Pilipino na sa buong bansa mismo, iba't ibang mga events, care of the NCCA yung ginagawa. So
Yes,
for
of
this
course.
year, 2014, ano-ano po ba yung ina-expect natin in general?
Well, marami tayong nationwide activities, no? Although this year, ina-address na rin ng NCCA ang arts for healing dahil sa maraming natural disasters last year. So, although nagfo-focus pa, it's still a festival, no? Masaya pa rin. And last week, we actually had a preview of the things to come. Nag-flash mob dun sa MRT tsaka sa LRT. So, we had dancers, even the visual artists, cinematic artists, na nag-impromptu performance.
Naku, excited. Parang New York lang ang
Very New York.
nangyari.
Nabentyuhan po ba yun?
Yes, actually, some of the photographs are on the NCCA Facebook page. So, yun.
So ma'am, ano po yung mga na-mention niyo po kanina, yung art of healing?
Yes.
Ano pong mangyayari dito?
Well, mostly kasi for this year, for example, in addition to celebrating Arts Month, we recognize the role of the arts in healing, for example, in traumatized areas like Leyte, Samar, Bohol, and including Zamboanga. So, in fact, after the typhoon last year, dapat magkakaroon ng tinatawag nating Dayaw Festival. Normally, NCCA is in charge of several festivals during the year. Arts Month is just one of them. We also have Heritage Month in May. Tapos normally, meron din tayong Dayaw in October. It was moved to November, pero nagkaroon ng typhoon. So they changed the festival aspect into a series of healing activities with the katutubo. So we plan to continue that this year, and even yung mga heritage activities will be restoring and healing our land.
Since we're talking about restoration and healing, can you give us po a feedback of what happened in Bohol? Ano na po bang status and update?
Well, since the earthquake last year, the first response always fell onto NCCA. We gave 1 million pesos both to the National Historical Commission and to the National Museum to conduct immediate activities, shoring up, securing the sites, clearing the rubble, making documentation. So, ginagawa po yun. In particular, yung National Museum, nire-recover din nila yung tinatawag natin na movable materials, yung mga santos, mga pulpito, retablos that are buried in the rubble. So ongoing po yun, including, and tinutulungan ito ng National Archives, yung pag-recover ng mga ancient documents. Kasi ibang mga simbahan, meron silang records up to over 100 years ago. So these are baptismal records, wedding registries, and all of that material. Old missals na kailangan i-restore dahil syempre for a while after the earthquake, exposed sila to the elements, they were under the rubble. So nire-recover mga to, and we're helping to restore them also. So,
Alam mo, Ross and Atty. Trxie, sobrang dami natin pwede pag-usapan, especially dun sa mga nangyari na, yung mga nasirang heritage sites sa Bohol and even sa Leyte. One point na pwede po natin pag-usapan dyan, kung since nabanggit niyo po kanina, Atty. Trxie, na pwede po natin ma-cure yung trauma sa pamamagitan ng art. So, especially kung naalala mo, Ross, nung nangyari yung lindol sa Bohol, sobrang nakikita natin sa videos kung paano nabibiyag na lang, di ba? Nasisira na lang lahat ng mga simbahan. So ano po yung plan po natin, syempre lalo na sa mga parokyano na mga nagsisimba doon? Syempre traumatized lahat yan eh.
Well, ang primary interest kasi ng mga parishioners nung right after the earthquake is kailan nila magagamit yung mga simbahan. So in some instances, immediately sinabihan na namin yung mga parish priests to create another space para doon magkakamisa. And nakaka-touch rin kasi for instance in Lobok, nag-create sila ng prayer space din because for the longest time, they were trying to recover yung kanilang puon, Our Lady of Guadalupe. At nag-vigil sila, candlelight vigil, every night until na-recover siya. So nakikita natin na ang faith ng mga Boholano hindi talaga natinag. And we're working also to to ensure na even the temporary spaces para sa kanilang masses and all that. Because kultura din to religion, faith, belief, all of this is culture. So we're trying to help them out also. Among other things, dino-document namin yung mga sites kasi there's a distinct possibility in some of them na hindi na natin ma-restore. So, ang natitira na lang is for us to remember them and to decide what we're going to do with the remaining sites. Pero syempre, mabagal itong activities na to kasi ang restorations and conservation is a series of decision-making. Hindi lang po ang NCCA, ang National Museum at ang NHCP ang nagde-decide ng mga ito, availability of funds at saka yung needs ng mga nakatira doon. We also take this into consideration. Plus yung mga scientific data. So, right now, inaaral pa natin yung conditions ng mga sites.
So, attorney, na-mention niyo po kanina na yung restoration, magiging matagal nga ang process nito.
Yes.
Pero mabuti naman at nagawa ng paraan dahil at least may mga temporary places na pinupuntahan ng mga tao para mag-pray or para pumunta sa mga church. So, discuss po natin, attorney, I'm sorry, yung mga sinkholes po.
Opo.
Ano po bang...
Kasi yung ibang mga sites, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin kagad na magre-restore na tayo. Ang pinag-aaralan din natin yung location itong mga simbahan na ito if there will be further geohazards na tinatawag natin.
Yes.
So dahil dun sa geologic makeup ng Bohol, sa ilalim na nakatayo siya, ang buong isla ng Bohol actually is lime. So yung mga nakita natin mga sinkholes, these are actually underground caves. Na nung nagka-earthquake, nag-collapse yung mga caves na yon, creating sinkholes. So tinitingnan natin kung yung mga areas under or around nitong mga simbahan ay may ganun din geologic makeup. Yung baka may possibility na magkaroon sila ng sinkhole, baka may possibility na ilalim mismo ng simbahan may potential sinkhole. So inaaral natin yung grounds ngayon. But, you know, in addition to the existing geohazards, we still have to study yung mga nasa ilalim ng simbahan na kompromiso ba yung basement nito, yung mga may mga hidden cracks ba na nasa ilalim na hindi natin nakikita. So, kailangan inaaral din natin yon. And then, pagka naaral natin yon, that is the time we present all the data para magawa natin ng desisyon. To restore? Are we going to save as ruins? Are we going to reconstruct? So marami pang pag-uusapan tungkol doon.
Okay. Attorney Trxie, ayan, nakikita po natin ngayon sa monitor natin yung ilan lamang sa mga ruins na nga.
Loon.
So, most probably that's in Bohol, right?
Yes,
yung mga
that is
simbahan.
Loon.
Tapos yung mga altar na natitira pa, at saka yung mga nasira nga ng mga monuments.
Inakyat ko yan.
Lahat po yan?
Inakyat ko yan. Umakyat ako sa rubble.
Okay. So, ma'am, nabanggit nyo nga po na may iba't iba pa kayong mga considerations or mga factors to consider kung ano na po yung mga steps na gagawin ninyo. Pero of course, these sites, mga heritage sites po yan na syempre, most likely, may iba UNESCO pa po mismo yung
hindi po. Ang World Heritage Sites, the closest to Miagao Church. And
Miagao
yun yung
lang
unang
talaga.
chinek namin. So, okay lang ang
Okay lang
Miagao.
naman
Yes.
yung Miagao.
Safe sila.
Okay, anyway ma'am, dun sa mga ruins po, dun sa ibang churches, possible pa po ba na if ever mag-reconstruct na yung same architecture po mismo, same
Kung
yung
mapipreserve
appearance?
niyo po ba yun?
Kaya po ba yun?
Mare-reconstruct ba natin exactly? No. Actually, what conservation is about, ang basic principle ng conservation is telling the truth. So when we do a reconstruction, of course, we want to make it as faithful as possible. But yung na gumawa nun, they don't exist anymore. Wala na sila. At usually, ang mga structures na to were created to reflect yung aesthetics of the time. Reconstruction, parating yun yung last action natin eh. Pag wala ng ibang magawa, reconstruction ang ginagawa. So, a lot of intramuros, for example, is reconstructed using photo documentary evidence nung area at the time before the carpet bombing of World War II. But in cases like this, normally kasi pag conservation, restoration is the best action if there's still something to restore. So, in other instances, we save the site kasi kung importante siya talaga, kahit yung ruins nun, importante din. So, tinitignan din natin yung possibilities kung ruins ang ititira natin at hahanap tayo ng ibang lugar para makapagsimba pa rin yung mga tao. So, right now we don't know, but kumbaga, there's certain places na we're very optimistic. Baclayon, for instance. There's a distinct possibility na restoration, full restoration is entirely possible. Kasi yung damage niya is manageable. Other areas like Dimyao, although hulog yung mga walls, nakikita is hope. But for places like Luon and Maribohok, we really have to take a long, hard look at what we're going to do afterwards because some of the materials are no longer capable of being put back in place.
Talagang hindi natin maiiwasan ng mga kalamidad na ganito.
Nalungkot nga.
Oo nga, at mga heritage sites pa naman to ng Pilipinas na hindi natin...
But there is good news, no? In addition to studying yung nangyari dito sa 6 na major churches na nahulog, the reason these are so important, dahil sila yung pinakamalaki dun sa area na yon. Pero ang Bohol, maraming simbahan, maraming importanteng simbahan. And we're looking towards declaring additional sites sa Bohol, hindi lang simbahan. Kasi, for instance, ang provincial government building sa Tagbilaran is also a historical site. May konti siyang damage, pero very highly possible yung complete restoration niya. But may mga watchtowers, may mga simbahan na iba-ibang ages because history is a series of events. So may mga younger churches na worth declaring, may mga ibang simbahan na extensive din yung ceiling paint or napakaluma ng retablo. Meron ibang simbahan dyan completely wood. Okay. So, and the wood is over 200 years old. The church is over 200 years old. So marami pang mapupuntahan sa Bohol. It's not just these 6 churches because the entire Bohol actually is a heritage site at maraming na-preserve na sites doon. So, Bohol will retain its place as a tourism destination.
Alright. As Atty. Trxie, since nabanggit niyo po kanina na, of course, we are now in the phase of restoration. During this phase po ba, sino-sino po yung mga organizations or other institutions na katuwang po ng NCCA ngayon na syempre tumutulong dito sa phase na?
Well, of course, the affiliate agencies, the NCCA is the coordinating agency, the National Historical Commission, the National Museum, and the National Archives are the ones who are doing the actual restoration work. But the NCCA also is capable of accepting volunteers and donations for the sole purpose of reconstruction, restoration of Bohol. So meron kaming special account that can receive that. And since maraming nag-offer to volunteer, you can do so by contacting us at the NCCA. If there's any, we're willing to accept experts, even non-experts who can help in clearing operations, provided that they are under the direction of any of the cultural agencies that are expert on these matters. So in the meantime, we also acknowledge na maraming tao ang feeling nila, kultura nila, heritage nila, kahit hindi sila taga-Bohol, alam nila part ng kasaysayan nila ang mga simbahan na ito. Kaya very willing silang mag-volunteer in any capacity whatsoever. So, tinatanggap na namin sila ngayon.
Alam mo, Ross, that's good news, no? Kasi actually, Atty. Trxie, marami po akong friends from the College of Architecture in UP Diliman and Asian Institute of Tourism, even students pa lang po, na pupunta po sila mismo sa site sa Bohol and even some places in Leyte kasi titingnan nila mismo agad yung place and they're asking on how to help. So, maganda po na nabanggit nyo na NCCA is accepting volunteers.
Yes.
Especially during summer, no, pag wala ng classes, para makapunta
Pwede silang mag-volunteer. So, they can just visit to your site or may dapat ba silang tawagan?
We have a website, www.ncca.gov.ph, and you can contact us through email on that site, or you can call the office. Our office in Tamuros, we're beside Red Cross and behind the San Agustin Church on Calle General Luna.
Alright, before we end, ma'am, no, of course, malapit na ngayong February. Before we end this discussion, iimbitahin po natin ulit mga boss natin na makiisa po sa lahat ng celebrations natin ngayong Philippine Arts Month.
Festival,
Philippine Arts Festival opens the whole month, opens the 1st of February and will be celebrated the whole month. Since there was very little to celebrate last year, we welcome everybody in participating, in celebrating the heart and soul of our country and the freedom of expression of every Filipino. We'll see you in Arts Month anywhere in the country.
Okay, and I also heard the Ani ng Dangal will be on February 2.
Yes.
Ano po ina-expect po natin?
Surprise!
Okay.
We have wonderful awardees.
Resorts
But we'd like, yes, it's in Resorts World. So we'd like to invite people to anticipate our awardees for this year.
Okay, very exciting, boss. No?
Very exciting, actually.
Sana makiisa lahat ng mga boss natin ngayong Philippine Arts Festival sa lahat siguro
ngayong buwan ng February.
Yes, all over the country.
All over the country. Alright, so thank you so much.
Thank you
Muli
so much,
nakasama
Misa.
natin
Attorney
Trxie
Trxie
Angeles mula sa National
Salamat po.
Commission for the Arts.